I want to, out of the gate, just apologize. This isn't like super formal. I didn't write a script for this or anything. I don't know how it's gonna look. This is like pure first reaction after like a couple of days. I watched Dune Part 2 on Saturday with some friends. So that's sort of what this video is. It's like pure first reaction word vomit. I would like to, in the future, sort of do a video more centered on like Dune as a whole. For now, this video is just purely my first thoughts and takeaways from Dune Part 2. This is my overly open opinion, by the way. That's the name of the title card. Name of the web series right there. My Overly Open Opinion is a YouTube series where I talk about anything and whatever I want, and today I'm talking about Dune Part 2, just released a couple of days ago, March 1st. It is currently March 4th. Like I mentioned, I don't have like an official script or anything for this video right now. What I do have is just sort of like a couple of things, a couple of topics that I wanted to talk about and get into. That were sort of like the standout things to me that I noticed, and just sort of give like on my overall thoughts on Dune Part 2. So let's just do it. As probably no one is surprised by, the cinematography is amazing. It's incredible. Well, who did the cinematography? This guy. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? This guy. Actually, I can just put a picture of him on the screen. What am I doing? Visually, this movie is incredible. There are. I probably should have put a spoiler warning at the start, but there are going to be a couple. I'm going to try to avoid like major spoilers, but minor spoilers ahead. There'll be like a spoiler warning that'll appear on screen. Maybe depends on how much work I want to put in. Visually, this movie was stunning, and not exactly in the same way that Dune Part 1 was stunning. They both have their own style. You know they're part of the same story, but they both look different. And they make that pretty clear. The opening scene looks totally different from anything in the first Dune, like at all. It was really cool. It was a really cool scene. Everything is like super red and kind of dark. Kind of gave off like Mad Max Fury Road type vibes, where like, you know, the sand was all like this burnt orange. It was really, really cool. The big climax of the movie is like this whole war kind of going on. And there's this long take where we follow Zendaya's character, Shani, as she's fighting a whole bunch of guys. And you just feel like you're in the fight. We're dodging around bodies that are falling, and we feel like we're a part of the action. And it was a really cool shot. That shot really stuck with me. There's a whole Harkonnen scene. It's like Fade Rautha's introduction scene. And like pretty much the whole scene is like this cool black and white fight. And it's really cool. Like visually, this movie looks incredible. It looks amazing in such a different way than Dune Part 1. And Dune Part 1 looked wonderful. It's great cinematography, great movie. Dune Part 2 just sort of takes what Dune Part 1 had done and elevates it even more. It's incredible. The score is still really good. I can't say that I felt it was better than Dune Part 1, but I can't say it was worse. It's Hans Zimmer. He's a legend. It sounds amazing. Everything you hear is just perfect. Everything you hear is perfect. There's not much to say about the score. You can listen to the score if you want to. It's available. It's pretty good. You should listen to it, actually. The characters and storytelling are kind of what I think is going to be a little bit divisive about this movie. It's only been out for a couple of days, and so we've only heard nothing but positive things about it. I'm kind of curious to see how opinions change as we get further past the release date. Something that I think is really interesting is how new every character feels. We have a bunch of returning characters. You have Stilgar, Paul, Lady Jessica, Shawnee, Gurney, a whole bunch of returning characters, and yet all at the same time, it feels like they're different characters almost. From just Paul's first interactions with people and from his first couple of moments on screen, you can tell he's become a different Paul. This whole foresight, it says that, he has to die. And he sees himself getting killed in multiple different ways. And in a way that sort of comes to fruition at the end of Dune Part 1. Paul Atreides, who hadn't ever killed anyone before, just has now killed someone. And sort of like symbolizing that whoever Paul was before had to die so that he could become this Messiah. And they make it clear from his first moments on screen that old Paul from Dune Part 1 is gone. Like he's not in the movie. We have new Paul. But this happens a lot with a lot of the characters. They all feel like they're becoming new. Not only at the same time we're getting introduced to new characters, like I don't even know if she has a name. Florence Pugh's character, does she have a name? Pull up. Editing Gavin, pull up the IMDb page. Yeah, her. Fade Ralph, even just like a lot of the other Fremen characters. There's a lot of new people that we're getting introduced to, and at the same time, our characters are still continuing their arc from the previous movie. And so you're getting like these arcs that are starting, while at the same time their characters still completing their arc. It's kind of cool. It makes it a little hard to like truly get into like why are these characters doing this? Why are they behaving this way? After like 3 years, we've adjusted to Paul Atreides from Dune 1, Lady Jessica from Dune 1, and yet we're still following their arc, and we're suddenly lost again why they're doing anything that they're doing. I don't know. It's kind of weird. This movie's kind of weird. It's like if that's anything you take away from it, it's kind of weird. And that kind of leads into sort of like what I wanted to talk about with story. For being a part 2, there's still a lot that feels like it's crammed into this movie. There were multiple times in the movie where we would get through another big plot point, like Gurney would come back, Fade Ralph would be introduced, Paul would... I'm probably not going to include any of that, am I? No, probably not. And all at the same time, while all these plot points are happening, you sort of like get this feeling like, wait, there's still more movie? To the point where we get to like the climax of the movie, and we have this whole, and then they all live happily ever after. Actually, they all live happily ever after. The pacing just feels off in this movie. I feel like Dune 1 is perfectly paced. We don't spend too much time on any one thing. Everything happens, like there are things that happen quickly, but that's because that's how we're supposed to experience it. we're supposed to experience the fall of House Atreides so quickly. By the time we experience that fall of the House of House Atreides, we're almost at the end of the movie. Whereas with this one, it feels like there's so much happening, and that for some things that probably needed a little more time on, it feels like we don't get enough time on a couple of those things. This is a movie I'm going to need to revisit multiple times, because I believe that Denis Villeneuve is a genius. I watched Prisoners. That movie's incredible. I watched Dune Part 1. That movie's incredible. Dune Part 2 is incredible. I think I just need like more time with this movie, which I'm not going to get for a while without spending like $1 million. And maybe there are things that I didn't quite pick up on. Maybe there are details I'm missing. Now don't get me wrong, this doesn't change the fact that I think this is an incredible movie. I don't think they could have followed up Dune Part 1 any better than what they did with this movie. It really does take pretty much everything about the first Dune and pushes it up a notch. Everything about this movie feels bigger and grander. It's no surprise to anyone, or it shouldn't be a surprise, that this movie kind of leaves you on a cliffhanger. Because we've been told they're already working on Dune Messiah, which is like the direct follow-up to Dune. I so desperately wanted more. They have done that perfectly. They have brought in this whole audience that is just like on a Dune frenzy. Like, I wasn't alive for the release of the original Star Wars, but and this comparison has been made before, but I can almost feel like that this is how people felt after watching The Empire Strikes Back. It's incredible. I'm grateful that I get to be alive for this, and that I have this opportunity to see movies like this making a comeback. I think this movie, for me, will probably age better the more I watch it. I didn't leave disappointed that I loved the movie. I think there are certain aspects that the more I watch and the more I listen and the more I learn, I'll probably grow to appreciate or understand a little better. I think this movie's incredible. And I'm looking forward to any Dune related content in the future. Hoping Dune Messiah will come out soon. Will come out soon-ish, you know. Like, probably by like 2027. Is that too much to ask? But that's sort of like my jarbled brain mess of a video. I don't know if this is gonna make sense. I don't. Thank you for watching my little opinion piece on Dune. I hope to do more videos like this, as just in general. Sort of where I talk about things I like and things I love. Maybe things I don't like as well. I'm working on a script for a video kind of like this one. So it's pretty exciting. I can't recommend watching these movies anymore. Yeah, that's all I've got.
Show me what love is. Acting like I know myself.